All right, everybody, welcome back. Today's episode is about the holiday blues. Now, we are going to talk about some stuff that happens around the Thanksgiving time, but Christmas blues are temporary feelings of sadness, loneliness, stress, or anxiety during the festive season, stemming from financial worries, grief, unmet expectations, or family issues that often end up easing after the holidays. Now, for Joe and I, we've been in retail for a long time, on and off, and we have had to deal with the best that society has to offer, right?
Oh, God, man.
These people, I swear.
Rude.
So we're going to get into this. So if you work in the service industry or retail or hospitality or anything like that, you're going to know exactly what we feel. And we're with you. You guys, we're with you. You go through all the same kind of stuff. So get into the holiday blues. All right, guys, welcome back to Holiday Blues. It is that time of year again, Joe, where people, are supposed to have the Christmas spirit, right? And they're supposed to be nice and wonderful to one another. And what are they not? They're angry and pissed and,
rude, bro. Just rude.
They got their, latte at Starbucks incorrect, so they are yelling at the barista, and, they walk into Target, and Target's out of stuff because people are buying for the holidays, and they're pissed at some cashier making minimum wage for being out of stock on product that they have nothing to do with.
Yeah.
Here we are. Cheers.
Man, cheers to all you hard workers. Here's one thing you mentioned earlier that we know a lot about. You and I worked in the retail industry for years, and one thing I could never get used to is, one thing that is like a pet peeve to begin with is rudeness. I don't like people that are rude. And so you think that around the holidays, I don't know if you remember growing up as a kid, all those claymation cartoons that would come around during Thanksgiving with Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus is coming to town, all those fun little animation. It just brought all this joy and free spirit to the holidays, and people just walked around. It was a great time. People were nice. That has gone to hell. Let me tell you,
it is gone.
It is gone, along with the claymation. It is a horrible time to be in public during the holidays. It's a horrible time to be a human, and it's just a horrible time to be a employee at any retail establishment. People are rude, and it goes without saying. Even I hate going to stores during the holidays, right? Because there's too many people.
Me too.
I don't like people. You know this. I don't like people, especially a lot of people. You get in there.
I don't like a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't like a lot of people. That's why my friend list is down to one. Right? I don't like a lot of people. And so the problem with that is, like, even as another customer, I would say a peer of a customer, you go in there, not because it's the holidays, but like maybe I need some underwear, right? Maybe I need some socks, or maybe I need to buy a gift to my kids for the holidays. Whatever the case is, you walk in there and people forget. It's like in Arizona, they forget that they have this little device called a turn signal, correct?
Man.
That's California.
Pet peeve.
Oh, and brother, let me tell you, they're in the lane. They cut you off in the lane, then they hit the turn signal. I'm like, a little late. Yeah. Anyway, same thing happens with people at a store. Like they hit you with a cart, they bump you, they do whatever, and they look at you like you're at fault. I'm sorry, and I'm the rudest person. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me for being in your way, and I'm douche, bro, when it comes to that, because I don't like rude people. And it's what happened to those times of cheer and joy, and where holidays meant that you were expressing your happiness towards mankind, others, right? And bro, that has gone to the wayside because no one cares about anybody. We're back to the same topics that we talk about every other episode about people being selfish,
Right.
and I just hate it.
Entitled, baby.
Yeah.
Entitled.
Oh my God. And so you sit there and you and I worked in retail, bro. And a customer asks you for something. Do you have any of these in the back? Well, let me check. And we have this nifty little computer that you just go in your hand and I'm sorry, we don't have any. But the store about 5 miles away has 5 of them. Well, could you get them here? Oh,
yeah.
No, it's 5 miles on the street. You go just drive down there and get it, right?
Let me send the janitor down there in his personal car to go ahead and grab that for you, because you are that important to us.
But the thing is, they're rude about it. Like, well, can you go back there and check and make sure? I'm like, sold 5. It said I had 5. I sold 5. I have none in stock.
Yeah.
0 usually means I have none. 0 means no. There's nothing back there. Oh, well, what if someone miscounted? No, there's nothing back there. There's 5 down the street, about 5 miles out. I don't want, and you're like the bad guy, bro. I'm I'm sorry for your poor planning and that you have to run around like a chicken with head cut off, and you have to make me an encroach on my peace of mind because you messed up. So no, I feel for you guys, all of you, every single one of you, from the baristas at Starbucks to those employees at the mall to even Circuit City, all them places. Well, I said Circuit City.
I mean, Best Buy. You took the clock back, man.
I took it way back. But you know who I'm talking about. I feel bad for all of you because people are not nice today. They are rude as hell, Jay. And I just don't touch me. Don't talk to me. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
I don't want to see you. That's why I don't like going to busy places. What's been your experience lately? Like, have you experienced any of this going to the mall and dealing with it, or even to anywhere?
Yes. So, you mentioned traffic and people not using their blinkers. And I heard this said many, many moons ago. And I've used this example for people that do not use their blinkers when they're merging, exiting, all the different things, making lefts, rights. And it's like the blinker is to help notify other people of what you were doing with your 2,000-pound death machine, because nobody knows where you're going with that thing. And it just helps us go, oh, they're going to make a left. Oh, they're going to make a right. Folks just turn in front of you and they expect you to know what they're getting ready to do and all that kind of stuff. There was a story, and I remember us talking about it, and I don't remember if it was you and I or one of the other guys that I was closing with that night. I think we had volunteered to do Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of the other families could go home and everything. I didn't have any kids or anything to go home to. So we had everything ready to shut the doors like right on time. And I'll never forget it. I go up there, I've got the keys, I'm locking the building up. And you see people coming through the parking lot, still coming up, right? And this guy's like that, banging on. He's like, come on. I just need to buy one thing for my wife. And I don't remember if it was you or this other guy that I'm thinking about. He's like, you should have thought about him yesterday if you loved him that much. I was like, dude, that's cold-blooded on Christmas Eve. But it's true, man. People wait till the last dang minute to do everything. And it was always funny. The last 2 or 3 days, this goes for Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, Christmas, all of the holidays.
It sounds like me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, dude, that you're buying, like, you have to buy cards, the Hallmark holiday stuff. Oh, yeah. It's 2 days before whatever that holiday is. St. Patrick's Day, I don't care. You see those card aisles full of dudes. A bunch of guys waited till the last minute to get all the stuff. The story of our lives, yeah. Well, we got stuff to do. We got important stuff to do. So I'm not thinking about all that stuff until we got to think about all that stuff. People are much more ruthless now than they used to be,
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. You mentioned something again that we've talked about this on episodes, not Christmas, not the holidays and not the holiday blues, but people not being as courteous as they used to be. And they have this just privileged mindset that they are the only people that exist in the world, and everybody needs to get out of their way and everybody needs to cater to them in particular, And so it gets frustrating that we don't have that kindness of the holidays anymore. During the holidays, it's something that you are hanging out with family and stuff that you normally don't get to talk to. You normally don't get to see. And so usually...
And then you remember right away why you don't. I'm just kidding.
So it's usually holidays, right, that you get together, sometimes birthdays, weddings, and funerals. Those are really the only time that your kind of distant family gets together. So why make that time so stressful and everything?
Bitter.
And there's different reasons for all the stress, right? Nowadays, I think one of the big ones is financial stress. Gifts, travel, parties, those kind of things. All that kind of stuff adds a lot of pressure to people, and they are stressed about, oh my gosh, I gotta, my kid wants the Lego Jack Sparrow Black Pearl ship. You know how much those things are, man.
I don't, but I know how much the
Millennium
Death
Falcon
Star
is.
and the Millennium Falcon are.
Well, that
$800-$900.
The Black Pearl is $380. It's $379. $380.
Bargain compared to Star Wars.
That's a bargain compared to the Millennium Falcon. That's $800.
Or Harry Potter castles and stuff like that.
That castle's actually pretty cool. But So those are things that can really doesn't have anything to do with the people that they interact with, but now that's internalized, and now you're pissed and you're like, I got to spend money and I can't even pay my electric bill, or, my car insurance is behind or whatever. And then another big one that people have and this is a tough one, man, because I do get upset at people when they're doing stupid stuff, right? But the other thing is we don't know what other people are going through. Grief and loneliness, right? Folks have lost a loved one maybe throughout the year.
Yeah.
And so this is the first holiday they're going to go through without that person, right? So, or this person's just alone, kind of like you and I, we're kind of loners in a way.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Now the world knows.
Now the world knows. But it can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing, because some people do not enjoy being alone. They don't find solace in it, or this is the first time they're having to deal with being alone because of divorce or death or something like that. So,
well, depression's real, man, and people get depressed in the holidays, a lot in the holidays, and and that's a problem. Is like it takes just one a shove, and I don't mean physical shove, but like a neglect of somebody during the holidays to just push them to the edge,
right?
And that's what I'm talking about, is that we've gone away from a society that cares and become a society that is just like, we run around like robots, bro. Like we just like, you know what I mean? And we used to make fun of that back in the days, and now it's become a reality, and it's scary because the reality of things is that people have feelings, and we joke a lot on this podcast about people's emotions and feelings and how they're misinterpreted, and we just make fun of people. But when it comes to like depression, I mean, that's a real thing. That's something that people deal with every day. And like, for example, and I'm not that I'm depressed, but for example, the holidays come around and you have these memories as a child, and you get older. Like, I don't have my mom anymore. So, it's hard sometimes. You sit there and you have your kids, and you're thankful, of course, that your children are there, that you're still alive to cherish those moments. But you always want, like, man, what if my mom was here? Their grandma was here. It'd been so much more fun. And unfortunately, my kids have lost both grandparents on both sides. So they have nobody other than, me and their mom. So it is kind of like a little bit heavy on you when it comes to those moments. And so you're already in that mood where, like, and let's face it, a lot of people lose their jobs during the holidays, right? Because everybody's seasonal workers, and they're going back into the new year, and they start cutting jobs around this time. And so there's a lot of things that are happening at the same time. And so we've become a society that, again, that's just very selfish and doesn't care about what's going on around us. We only care about what's in front of us. And usually that's because we're looking in the mirror, and has no bearing on the outside world. So it's depressing, because one of the things that I noticed during the holidays is that I see a lot of people that, in reality, when you look at them, they seem lonely. Like, they have no one. Like, you see them at the malls. They're at the food court. They're just sitting there by themselves with thought in mind. And, you wonder, like, are they here with a family member? Are they just waiting for someone? Or is this their life? Like, do they have anyone to rely on, or someone to talk to? And it's kind of sad, or you're driving the streets, especially out in Phoenix, and you see homeless people. The biggest thing is you see these encampments, these homeless encampments, and they make shift little Christmas trees, dude, that gets to me. I don't know why. Like, I see that, and I'm like, these people are in the worst conditions of their life, and they're here trying to celebrate Christmas, but a little broken down tree that's missing like half the side, and
little Charlie Brown tree,
bro. Yeah. Or they decorate a bush that's next to their tent, and
tumbleweeds.
Yeah, bro. And no knocks on you, Chandler. I know you guys have a tumbleweed Christmas tree, but
tumbleweed tree.
But it's sad in a way, because it really speaks to the lack of empathy that people have now. Like, it saddens me, because, like, rudeness aside, people are going to be rude, because you always run into those people, but it's never been this bad. It's never been to the point where these people have been so rude, and they've never been to this point where people just don't show. I mean, that they show they don't care. Yeah. And to me, that's kind of sad, right? Because, like, this is a time of giving, right? So we give to our neighbors, we give to our other humans, and we don't. We're just so hyper focused on each other, or on ourselves, I should say, that we don't even look about or care about anybody else. So the biggest thing about the thing about this is that people do have to deal with this. People deal with depression, they deal with the loneliness, they deal with, like, dude, I'm not gonna lie, there's been times that I've felt lonely, and like, my kids haven't been around, and and I'm sitting there and like, this is horrible. Like, this is a horrible feeling to have. Now, could you imagine those that have to deal with this day in and day out? Mine are momentary, right? Because I live here, they live there, and I'm like, man, I miss the kids, and they're 300 miles away, and other people just don't have nobody, and I don't know. I think during the holidays, it's really gone commercialized, and I think we talked about that last time we were talking about Thanksgiving, how it's just gone very commercial, very retail. It's all about the gifts. It's all about statuses and things like that. Who has the biggest turkey? Who fried their turkey versus who smoked it and
boiled
it or God, I don't even know why you brought that one up. But it's all about status. It's about who's got the nicest trees and who bought the biggest gift. And like I remember for Christmas at school, and I talked about this in the other episode that we talked about Thanksgiving. But do you remember cutting those little paper things and then you put them together and make a little chain of red, green, and it's red and green, and then you take it home and your mom will put it on the tree as a decoration. Like, bro, that was my mom's biggest beautiful gift that I gave her, and she loved it.
Oh,
that was her favorite thing, and she kept them for years until we used to use the construction paper, so it started fading and they all started looking brown after a while.
The red started turning pink, so you could use it for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, everything's weird. All the colors go crazy. And so my mom kept that thing forever, and I'm thinking, man, that was the beauty of things. We used to give each other we'd get my dad socks, and he was excited. He was thrilled. He didn't need socks, but it wasn't about the gifts. Is my point. It was about the moments together with family, eating tamales, having a good time, telling stories, running around with the cousins, picking on the cousins. It was about family. It was about community. It was about unity. It was about just caring for each other. And now, there's fights in every reunion. People are drunk. It's just horrible, bro. Like, people forget to go to church now.
Yeah,
it's like, what's going on, America?
Well, it was one of the next things I was going to kind of bring up, because I had a couple topics as far as things that get to people, So we talked about financial stress, grief and loneliness. We just kind of covered. And then you just brought up family conflicts, right? Stressful gatherings, unresolved issues resurface, stuff that's from the past. Oh, my freaking cousin's here. Oh, man, that aunt that's like nutty, and she always brings the same fruit cake from last year or whatever it is,
That no one ate the year before
no one ate. Yeah, so she kept it this year. It's rubberized, So sometimes that can be a thing too, because how many times have you known folks, and let's walk away from family stuff for a second, work get together, right? And there's going to be people at work getting together. There's always that one person, and this, bro. There's always that one person that goes, do you know who's going to be there? Because there's somebody that's going to be there. They don't want to go if that person's going to be there, right? And because they can't stand them. So this holiday stuff, family member stuff is like that too. There's those two sisters that, that don't get along, and there's always tension, and everybody in the room is like, oh my God, Melinda and Flora are gonna get in a fight again this year. They're gonna cat scratch each other.
Why you gotta be Mexicans, bro? Why you gotta be Mexicans fighting, bro?
How is that Mexican?
Did you say Flora?
I said Melinda and Flora. I don't know. It could be anybody.
Okay.
Rosie and Belinda. I don't know.
It's Lupita and Juanita. They're always getting into it over the refried beans.
I could have said like Buffy and Jessica, or something like that. So
a little variety, bro. Jeez.
A little variety, whatever.
Karen. You could say Karen. There's always a Karen fighting.
There's a Karen and a LaQuisha. That's all we need, man. That's all we need, brother.
My God.
The other thing, and you kind of hit on this earlier, and I think this is probably a really big key one now, because what is the question we're asking? Why is it now all of a sudden people are so much ruder? All of society, and we talk about this again, broken record on every episode, that things have just changed, and not in a good way, over the years here. And this is one of the biggest things, I think, during the holidays: unrealistic expectations. Media portrayals make real life seem inadequate, right?
Yeah.
And so, just like you said, who's got the best fried turkey or smoked turkey or whatever? And you didn't get those little special, trivets off of Temu for the table, because everybody's doing that. Didn't you see on the last TikTok? Like, everybody's been doing it. And do you see her? She walked in here. She didn't even get her nails done. And what kind of shoes does she have on? Right? It's just like all of these expectations that are out there on the table that really don't need to be there, man. And social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all put them all out there. They've all created unrealistic things in general, but the holidays are no exception. So you've got all these things during this time of year. People are already trying to, kind of impress their family. Now, here's something that I think is affecting people, especially if they are in the northern climates, right? Oregon, Washington, we're looking at you. And people anywhere in other parts of the country.
Pacific Northwest is what you're focusing on.
Pacific Northwest, yeah. It's seasonal changes, man. Less sunlight, gloomier weather, all those kind of things. But even though that does affect, that's been around forever. So that kind of stuff has affected people for 100 years, right? Where what are the things that are currently that have changed? So the family unit is broken down, right? No more dads in most of the homes, right? You have tons and tons of social media influence and stuff like that. And then this is one that I can relate to, is just being overwhelmed. Too many demands and activities during the holidays, right? So being involved in band stuff, I think I told you my schedule, like, this week that we're floating in. So Monday we had rehearsal, after work. Tuesday, rehearsal after work. Wednesday, retirement party. Thursday, work party. And this is all after work. So you have a full day of work and then you're to this deal. And then I'm off on Friday, but then I have a gig that I got to be there 3 hours early. So the whole day's gone. Then I got to wake up the next morning, Saturday morning, go to work, and then the next day's church. So it's like, it's overwhelming, man, for a lot of people. I don't mind. I like staying busy and doing stuff, but some people, it's too much for them,
mentally,
emotionally mentally and emotionally to deal with things like that. So it gets to them. So all these things in conjunction can really bring on the holiday blues or the Christmas blues or Thanksgiving, if it's that time. And, one of the most depressed times for people, we would say it would be Christmas if they're alone, but New Year's is a crazy time for people to be alone. And there's more depressed people. I think it's the third most, drunken accidents and stuff like that.
Really?
I
don't even call that like a holiday, bro. I think I sleep in. I don't even... I think I stopped partying years ago, bro. To me, it's not even it's not. It's like it's up there with like Kwanzaa. You know what I mean? It's there, but I don't really do much with it. You know what I mean? But whatever. Clearly, I used the wrong example. I guess I don't know, but
Punxsutawney Phil. You don't celebrate him?
No, just there's some holidays that we throw out there just to keep fairness around. Weird, but it's just it's the new year. You know what that means? I'm a year older soon. Yeah. So not trying to celebrate the arrival of the chariot of death. You know what I mean? I'm good. Stay at bay. You know what I mean? Not a big fan.
Well, so to let you all know, New Year's Eve to New Year's Day is cited as the most dangerous night for DUI arrests and accidents with a high risk of impaired driving due to celebrations and winter weather. Number 2 is Thanksgiving. Imagine that. That's because that's the first holiday.
Fires.
Yeah. Well, Thanksgiving, it's before Christmas. So it's the first time, you've gotten together since last year with the family and everything. And, Uncle Joe's.
It's the first time
Joe's just drinking away, right?
Well, it's not just that. It's your drunken uncle tries to fry her for the first time for the turkey and starts a fire and burns the house down, along with Grandma Smith in there. You know what I mean? So it's there's a lot of accidents. But no, here's the thing, man. These times of year, they only, what's the word I'm looking for? They multiply the emotions that go with an everyday feeling. Like if someone's already feeling low or depressed or blue, you bring in the holidays and that just magnifies that feeling. Because what are the things you see? Everybody's cheerful, everybody's happy, everybody's, yay, they're shopping, they're doing things like that. And there's this person who's already feeling down and the holidays come and they see that, they're like, I really am a loser. I got nothing. I got nothing. And what do? You have to, you have, that's the problem with society today is that we're not looking beyond ourselves. You know what I mean? We're not looking where we should be looking, and that's in others, and
that's right.
We should live a life of servitude. We should serve people, not people serve us, and that's the problem that we're having today in society is that we are too selfish. And I've said this time and time again, and as have you, and we don't care enough about each other to give a helping hand, to help our neighbors, to do whatever the case is, and not to say that that's not happening. It does, but just not frequent enough.
Yeah.
And it's a sad thing because, there's that lonely neighbor that we all know about. They live down the street, live there for 20 years, and they're by themselves, but we don't do anything. We don't go down there and ask them, hey, do you want to come join us? Hey, here's a plate. Hey, come sing with us, or hey, come drink with us, or hey, have some dinner with us, anything. No one stretches a hand out. And that's sad. That's not what the holidays are about. The holidays are about not what people could do for us, but what we can do for others, bring the cheer to them and not them to us. But we've taken everything and turned it around and twisted it and make it a horrible thing. And I think that's where I'm at with society right now. And I just
Yeah, unfortunately, we've gotten away from that attitude of servitude, right? We need to be more selfless and humble and willing to serve others for a higher purpose. We need to prioritize needs beyond ourselves, exemplified by figures like Jesus. I mean, that's where we get it all from,
That's it. We stopped at Jesus.
That's it.
That's all we need, everybody. All right.
Done.
It's over. Done. Bye, everybody. Have a good night. No, you're right. We have to do better as a society, guys. We have to do what's right. And I think the best thing to do is that there was a saying a long time ago that one of you Democratic presidents said, and it was he said
have to be a Democrat.
Well, he was a Democrat. I can't help that. He was what he was. But he said something very important, and it kind of goes to what we're talking about. He said, "Don't ask what your government could do for you, but what you can do for your country." I'm sorry, country, not government. Don't ask what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That's the same thing. Huh?
That was the amazing Mr.
John F. Kennedy,
JFK, and they killed him. So just putting that out there.
Just saying. So let's take that advice.
They don't ever try to kill terrible presidents. I just want to put that out there too. So just saying.
Yeah. You're right, but it's because they don't know any better. You know what I mean? But anyway, if we take that example and turn it into what we are talking about today, don't ask what I guess what I'm saying is you can't ask what people could do for you, but what you could do for others. And that's the key, and that's the importance about what we're talking about for the holidays and the holiday blues. It takes a very simple hello, a very simple, hey, you want to come on over, a phone call. And we talked about this before, that a lot of people are on the verge of just disconnecting altogether with society. And all it takes is a call and to remind them that, hey, we remember you. Hey, we see you. And during this holiday times, ladies and gentlemen, take a moment to reach out to somebody, anybody. It doesn't have to be someone you know. It could be a total stranger. It could be someone down the street. It could be that guy in the corner of the street that's always asking for money. Give them a blanket, give them a gift, give them some food, and just do something that doesn't benefit you for once, and see what happens. You might get a smile back, and you know what could that do? You'll be like the Grinch. He's gonna feel warm and fuzzy right here, and that's important, because at the end of the day, it's, again, like we said, it's not about who could serve us, but who we can serve. So let's do better as a society, and let's be better as a nation, a nation under God. So, with that being said, Jay, I don't know. Do you have anything to add?
No,
maybe some eggnog or something? I don't know.
Some eggnog. Ugh. Yeah, you nailed it on the head, man. I think it's really just understanding, don't have unrealistic expectations about the holidays, right? The media, TikTok, Instagram, all these things portray it as everybody's got this magical house. They take pictures of the good parts of it. They don't take pictures of the bad parts, right? And some people, I didn't even put a Christmas tree up this year, man. I don't have time. There's not going to be any family here or anything like that. So, I'm not going to add that in stress to do that for what? For me to look at it so I can take a picture and post it on Instagram? Doesn't make any sense. So if there's people that you're going to have conflict with in your family and stuff like that, stay away from those folks. They're just, Joe mentioned it, they are the Grinch of Christmas for you. Stay away from them, Don't
make peace with them.
Or make peace with them. And that's a key thing. One of the things that Joe said earlier was to, say hi to them, all this stuff. If you go to church, you should be inviting them to your church. I'm just telling you, that's one of the important things that we're supposed to do. Do not get into financial hardship for the darn holidays. All right. I know your kid wants the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip, but just make sure you know that you can afford it and you'll be able to pay your car insurance the next month and all that kind of good stuff. There's no reason in going into debt over stuff during the holidays.
Yeah, I got him G.I. Juan instead of G.I. Joe. It was much cheaper at that 99-cent store. So I'm like, that's what you're getting, bro. G.I. Juan. So,
and some of the guys out there want G.I. Janes, so they just identify that way, bro. That's just
here we go. That's a total episode. Different episode.
That's a different episode. So, well, anyways, y'all, thank you as always for joining us, and have a really happy time here. Next week will be the week of Christmas, so we're gonna have a special next week on the Christmas holiday and how the origins of it and what it really means and all that kind of good stuff.
And childbirth. So tune in. We're going to go over childbirth, how it happens, where it happens, and how Joe and Jay actually bring a new life to Earth. So stay tuned.
There you go. All right, everybody. Well, make sure you take care of one another.
And remember, do better, be better.
And as always, God bless America.
We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Have a great week.
See you next week.